Где? Где?
Հասել ենք արդեն այս քարանձավը, Կրիստալլիկիը, Bermuda, քաղաքի ձայներով մեզ դիմավորում են։
Wristbands, stick together.
They saw people who have a real beach now.
Ասա, քո հեղինակավոր խոսքը։
Ֆիլմ։
Ֆիլմն են հանել այստեղ, հա, 1914 թվականին։ Հսկա ծառեր են, նայեք։ Բարձր, հսկա։
I made the last right decision. My previous trip to Bermuda, not to try this with a broken arm.
Oh gosh, yeah, can you imagine? It would have been dangerous.
Հենց քարանձավներ մենք եղել ենք Վիրջինիայի մեր շուտը։ Այստեղից իջանք մենք։ Այս աստիճաններով։
Okay, come on, Dave. Come on. Come on.
Նկարում եք։ Սիրունա։ Սա բոլորով հավաքվեցինք, մեկ են վիդեո հանել։ Բոլորով հավաքվել ենք, հիմա հասնենք գայդը ինչ կասի, որ շարունակենք ճանապարհը։
Yeah, you don't want to stop there. Keep coming up, so it doesn't keep coming down. Thank you so much, my friend.
Still okay.
Thank you. Ինչ կասի։
Okay, guys, if I can get everybody's attention now, please. So right now, at this point, we are down 130 feet underground. We are even directly at sea level. The Crystal Cave was found back in 1907 by two boys at the tender age of 12 and 13. Their names were Edgar and Paul Gibbons. These kids are outside playing the game of cricket when one of them hits their ball and their ball goes into the bushes. These boys would go into the bushes to find their ball, but as they go in, they're going to find that there is a hole in the ground. So the boys, being adventurous, they would run home to get as much rope as they can find and a kerosene lantern. They're going to come back to this hole now. They're going to tie the rope around a tree and decide that they're going to lower themselves down. As they start to lower themselves down, they begin to recognize that the hole goes down deeper than they thought. So instead of the boys being normal and climbing back out of the cave, they wanted to be a bit more adventurous and go farther down. So they went farther down, reaching the cave's water. They swam in that water there in darkness for 3 hours. And they wasn't even looking for a way back out the cave because they were only determined to find that cricket ball. So when they couldn't find their ball, they had to climb 130 feet back out of the cave. Now once they get back out the cave, they're going to run back home. They're going to tell their parents of their discovery. And then the next day, the boys' fathers will decide that they're going to lower themselves down. So when the fathers now come down the next day, they start to explore the cave here to find out that the cave actually goes underneath of his neighbor's house. His neighbors were the Wilkerson family. The Wilkerson family are a very wealthy family that own the Fantasy Cave today, the Crystal Cave today, and everything else in Bermuda today. So what they did was that they brought the land from the boys and their family, they gave them even more land over in Harlem, which is another area in the Bay of Spain. Now, all of this took place in 1908. And then in 1909, this cave here will officially open to the public. There were 165 wooden steps that would have started up at the original hill. Those steps would have spiraled all the way down to a wooden dock area that would have been here. Now, once it got down to this dock area here, there wasn't a pontoon bridge there, and nor was there a tour guide. Everything was done in a rowboat by yourself. The reason why they stopped the boat tours in 1928 was because your early visitors were coming down here and breaking off information. So today we're going to walk on that pontoon bridge that floats on the top of the ocean water. When we get in the middle of the bridge, in the middle of the cave, we're going to see two stalagmites that are underwater, even at low tide. By any chance, does anybody know or have an idea how a stalagmite is actually formed?
Dripping.
Sorry?
Dripping.
Drippings?
That's stalactite.
And that was a stalagmite?
Yeah.
Has to come up.
The minerals that come out of the rock. Yeah.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So you're saying...
Yeah, it drops down like that
and it builds up. Okay, so my friend is saying here, he's saying for the stalagmite to grow, it is the dripping coming down from the ceiling, hitting the cave ground, leaving its calcium deposits behind, making the stalagmite build up. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Impressive. Because remember I just said that we have two that are underwater even at low tide. So if that is the case, these stalagmites must prove this cave was dry, it was empty at some point.
Yeah.
Or it has to prove that this cave, or it has to prove that my good friend here is just completely wrong. And I can tell you guys a pretty well-known fact, that this guy here, high five, he's never wrong. Except for being a Patriots fan, but you're fine. These stalagmites prove that 18,000 years ago, during the last ice age period, the cave was dry, it was empty, it had to be. Because the only way for them to grow today is the sea level there is going to have to drop. And guess what? That's not going to happen. Why? Because over the last 20 years, the sea level has risen by 12 inches. Wow. So instead of it decreasing today it is increasing. Today it affects our cave, which now means it affects our tours. I've got a question here from my good friend. And I got permission from the family that if you get the question wrong, I can throw you in. Are you nervous?
Sure.
Cool. No pressure, I promise, no pressure.
No pressure.
The water here, go have a good look at it. Is that fresh water or salt water?
Fresh. Fresh.
Are you sure?
I thought you just said it was.
No. You say fresh as well.
I think it's fresh.
You say salt. What you guys think is up here?
You said the time.
Young boss.
Well, can I tell you a funny fact? You can say fresh. Did you know that there is no fresh water in Bermuda? 0%. It's the reason why the roofs on our houses are designed to collect the rainwater. So with that said, your salt water is coming in from the Castle Harbor. The Castle Harbor is the body of water that surrounds the Bermuda International Airport. There's an underwater tunnel that connects the cave to the harbor. That tunnel is so tight that as divers, when we go through, we have to take off our tanks. We have to push our tanks out in front of us, and we have to pull they through for half a mile. Now those who said fresh water, you're correct as well. Because what we can't forget about is, okay, we want you to think it's rainwater before you come down here. But the truth is actually when they flush the toilets outside, that is rainwater, okay? That rainwater is now going to sit, like you said, on top of the salt water. Why? Because salt water is heavier. Fresh water has more buoyancy, so it's going to float on top, making it brackish water. See life inside this cave. Can fish come in? Yeah. But will they come in? No. Why? Because it's no natural light. There's no vegetation. It is nothing for the fish to eat. The tides would even rise and fall twice a day between 2 and 3 feet, which is why there is a pontoon bridge here, so that bridge can rise and fall with the tides. Right now we are in the middle of low tide and high tide, so depending on your height, there might be some areas that some of you might have to dock. If you have to dock, please look up before you stand up, okay? Again, get up and out twice a day. And the deepest point inside this cave now is going to drop down to 400 feet deep. The area will be to the backs of the cave. So when we walk on the bridge and there's lights coming on the bridge, wherever you see a ledge or a dark patch in the water, know the area drops down to 400 feet deep. Have divers been down? Yes. The only divers we're allowed to go down are professors from Texas A&M to Bermuda Biostation. The last time these guys went, about 8 years ago now, they found stalagmites inside that cave. Don't forget what my friend that is always right said. He said for a stalagmite to grow, it's a dripping from the ceiling hitting the ground. But now we've got stalagmites at 400 feet deep. Here's where it gets crazy. These stalagmites stand at 95 feet tall, estimated to be around 2 million years old. So these stalagmites, my friend, aren't just telling us now the cave was dry. They're not just telling us that Bermuda was dry. They are telling us that parts of the Atlantic had to be dry. Because don't forget, we're at sea level. Yeah. And so dry that if vehicles and humans were around back then, that maybe there was a possibility that we could have driven from Bermuda to North Carolina, and 650 miles coming up in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, which would have been which is our closest point to land.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Are there any questions here?
քարանձավի միջով ենք անցնում, վայ, սիրունա։ Լույսեր են։ Այս ջրային ֆոնը շատ հետաքրքիր։ Դիմացդ նայի։ Այն բանը, որ պետք է նայենք, համ նկարենք, որովհետև ընտանգավորը քայլելը։
There's this trash here.
Սիրունա։ Քարանձավի մեջ հսկա քարանձավ է, հսկա։ Ջրի միջով հա քայլում ենք, վերջը չկա։ Պատկերացրեք։ Լույսերը շատ սիրուն է, ջրային արտացոլանքը շատ հրաշք է։ Տեսեք, այնքան էլ մոտ է, քիչ ամենում քեզ դիմաց է, սա ձեռքդ կպնելու է։ Զգույշ բարձրանում ես։ Այնքան այստեղ Մենայք պատ են համարյա իրար։ Ոնց որ մրամր լինի, չէ։ Ոնց որ մրամր լինի։
Где? Где?
Okay guys, so as we come back here now, we're going to have some fun.
Can I go in?
In order for this to work, I'm gonna need you to turn off your cell phone lights or your camera lights, so just put them in a pocket. If you have never experienced 100% darkness before, today is going to be your first day. If you're going to be afraid, are there any questions back here?
Այդքան քարանձավ ենք տեսել, բայց դա իրոք հրաշալի է։ Տոմատի վրա է դրած։ Նայեք, ձերքս կողքն է։ Մանր ես ավելի բարակ տեսակի ներ են այնքել։ Գազ գլխից կխփես։ Մի քիչ է գազ։ Այնքան մոտ են։ Տպավորություն է, որ հեսա կպնում է ձերքդ նրան։ Հիմա ասենք վարձանում են գնանք, ոնց որ եկա։ Իջնել է իհարկե ավելի վտանգավոր էր, բայց հիմա վարձանալու կարելի է նկարել, այս իջնել եկա այստեղ։ Տերի պետք է զգուշ լինենք, որովհետև խոնավ է գետինը։ Կամաց գտնվելու իջնելու ենք։ Շատ սիրուն էր, շատ, ասում եմ այդքան մենք քարանձավներ ենք եղել, որովհետև Վիրջինիայի կողմներ շատ կար այս քարանձավներից, բայց սա չէր զիջում նրանց։ Շատ լավն էր, նույնիսկ որոշ առումներով ավելի հետաքրքիր էր, որովհետև այդ ջրային երկար, այդ ջուրը, որի երկրանքով ստալակտիտները կային, հրաշալի էր։ Այսինքն վարձանալու ենք։ Իրականում դժվար տուր չէր, ինքը համարվում էր երկրորդ աստիճանի դժվարության տուր, ըստ երևույթին այս աստիճաններով վարձանալու համար, որ շատերի համար կարող է դժվար լիներ։ Բայց իրականության մեջ շատ դժվար չէր։ Հայկե պետք է ուշադիր լինես, մանավանդ երբ որ ձեռքդ կամերա կա։ Սենց դուրս են գալիս։ Երևի կանջատ եմ արդեն։ Եկանք հասանք, այսենց, այս տաքսիներով էին մեզ բերել, իրենք էին կազմակերպել, այս էլ ես Crystal Coverն մտանք։